Let's dive right in. Today in Mountain View, let's talk about staying cool during this unexpected March heat wave, plus a missing teen alert, big moves on housing and downtown safety, and a new indoor pickleball spot opening up. I'm Garrett.
And I'm Leah. Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett here in Mountain View. First up, Mountain View designates cooling centers amidst a record March heat wave. This is rare for the season, and the National Weather Service, the federal agency that issues safety alerts, has a heat advisory running through March 20th. Daytime highs are topping 90 degrees, which is summer-level heat in March. The city has opened air-conditioned cooling centers at 3 places you probably already know: the Mountain View Public Library on Franklin, the Police Services Fire Administration Building, and the Mountain View Community Center. If you need a break from the heat, or you know someone who does, those doors are open. Here are some quick safety tips. Hydrate all day. Water first and more than you think you need. Avoid outdoor activity during peak heat, roughly noon to 5 p.m. Wear light clothing and check on neighbors, especially older adults, kids, and folks without reliable air conditioning. If you feel dizzy or nauseated, that's a red flag for heat illness. Cool down and get help. And if your place runs hot, use those cooling centers for a few hours to keep your core temperature down. Unseasonal heat like this is part of the bigger pattern we're seeing with climate change, long-term warming that's shifting when and how extreme weather happens. Adapting quickly with spaces like these really matters.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind. 90 plus in March. Wild how that works out. You know, the part that lands for me is the community side. A city library becoming a literal lifeline when the weather throws a curveball. I'm down for that. If you've got a cooler house, invite a friend who doesn't, and if you're out and about, carry an extra water bottle to hand off. That's a small thing that goes a long way. Leah, quick why for you. Why do we see a heat advisory in March at all? Isn't that more of an August thing?
Short answer, patterns are wobbling. A heat advisory is based on risk to health, not the calendar. When temperatures and humidity cross danger thresholds, even out of season, the advisory triggers. That mismatch is exactly what climate scientists point to, with more frequent extremes showing up earlier or later than we expect.
All right, let's roll on. Urgent. Help find missing 14-year-old Nadia in Mountain View. She was last seen Tuesday, March 17th, around 6:30 p.m. on the 500 block of Showers Drive, the residential and retail area near San Antonio. She's described as 4 feet 10 inches tall, about 115 pounds, and was last seen wearing a black shirt and black Nike Pro shorts. If you saw anything that evening, even a small detail like direction of travel, call Mountain View Police. In missing person cases, tips from the public are often the difference maker. 2 quick, practical tips. Check doorbell cameras or dashcam footage from that evening if you live or drove near Showers Drive. Sometimes a few seconds of video can give investigators a lead. And if you're out today, be mindful around transit stops, parks, and shopping centers in that area. If you think you see Nadia, do not approach in a way that could spook her. Call it in and keep eyes on from a distance so officers can get to the exact spot quickly.
Let's not let this one slide by. Community awareness is powerful in the first 48 hours, which is when most cases get traction. If you live off Showers, Latham, California Street, or anywhere nearby, spread the verified description with neighbors, building managers, and shop owners. The faster people know what to look for, the sooner Nadia can be found safe. Real talk. Every share, every check of a camera feed, every call matters. Next up, Mountain View approves a major row house development in East Wisman. The City Council voted on March 10th to greenlight a 195-unit project from Stonelex, replacing vacant offices and including nearly 50 below-market rate homes. Below market rate means some units are priced under typical rent or sale levels to be more affordable for qualified households. The plan also sets aside space for a small public park, giving neighbors a bit of green relief in a dense area. There's debate baked in. Supporters point to affordability gains in making use of underused office land. Critics say the public process felt thin, that there might be missed chances for more housing or bigger open space, and they raised flags about environmental safety because the site is on a known Superfund location. A Superfund site is a property identified by the Federal Environmental Protection Agency for contamination that needs cleanup and ongoing monitoring. This project will be under environmental oversight. One more notable detail, it received 20 waivers, which are formal exceptions to certain building rules. Waivers get used when a project meets some goals but needs flexibility elsewhere. Still, 20 is a big number, and it drew attention.
That's something to chew on, huh? We need homes people can actually afford. And we also need to be ironclad on environmental safety. Building on land with a cleanup history demands trust and transparent checks. My why is simple. Why so many waivers? Exceptions can be fine when they're justified, but when you rack up 20, people are going to ask whether the baseline rules still mean anything. That's not negativity. That's just good oversight.
Totally get where you're coming from. We don't have the line by line on each waiver here. But in general, a waiver lets a city approve a deviation if the overall public benefit is met. Think setbacks, height, or design tweaks. The key is that environmental monitoring remains independent and ongoing, and that's your backstop on the Superfund piece. If you live in East Wisman, keep an eye on the project updates. Resident questions are part of how the process stays honest.
Let's keep it moving. Mountain View is set to introduce 21-foot wide crosswalks downtown for pedestrian safety. The City Council approved this as part of its consent agenda on March 10th. Quick definition. A consent agenda is a bundle of routine or non-controversial items that get approved in one vote, usually without debate. These extra-wide crosswalks will be at two major Castro Street intersections. The idea is to boost visibility and give people walking a continuous path, especially since sections of Castro were closed to cars during the pandemic, and that setup stayed in place long-term. Timeline in dollars. Final designs are expected by fall 2026. Construction is targeted for early 2027, and the project cost is estimated at about $3.5 million. That covers design, materials, and construction. Think concrete, curb changes, signals, paint, the whole bundle. If you walk Castro at lunch or evenings, you know how busy those crossings get. The goal here is to make the pedestrian experience cleaner and safer.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This is a broader shift toward pedestrian-friendly planning. In plain language, streets that give people on foot a little more priority and protection. The pandemic forced an experiment by closing parts of Castro to cars. Now the city is building permanent features that match how the street is actually used. That's a big culture change, and it signals that downtown is meant to be walked, lingered in, and enjoyed without feeling rushed by traffic. Okay, let's move on. New indoor pickleball facility approved in Mountain View amidst community enthusiasm. The zoning administrator gave the green light on March 11th for an indoor spot at 838 Independence Avenue. The operator is 10-0 Sport, founded by Chris Robinson. That's a local developer focused on racket sports. It will offer public reservations and coaching sessions, a first for an indoor court in Mountain View, where coaches can book time without joining a private club. Hours are set for 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. The facility is designed to accommodate 4 to 6 players at a time, focused on small group play and instruction. And noise concerns were addressed up front with soundproofing, which matters in a light industrial corridor with neighbors around. Demand is real. Public courts across Mountain View and Palo Alto have been packed, so even a modest indoor option can take pressure off peak times, give beginners a place to learn, and keep play going when it's raining or absurdly hot like today. It also creates a clear lane for coaching, which helps new players learn safe footwork and avoid injuries. Small but mighty impact.
I'm all about that. Pickleball's a rare sport where you can jump in fast, meet neighbors, and get a solid workout. I like that the city baked in soundproofing from day one. That's proactive. My one why cap it at 4 to 6 people? We don't have the full design brief here, but if it helps manage noise, scheduling, and coaching quality, yeah, that checks out. Either way, more playable hours in town is a win.
Thanks for tuning in to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett here in Mountain View. Have a great day and join us again tomorrow.